Welcome, everyone. On the phone with me today is Bud Jeffries, who will be one of the 4 co-presenters at the Wizards of Strength workshop taking place in San Diego, California on October 19th through the 21st. And we're going to be talking about what Bud plans on sharing at the workshop, some of his new stuff he's been working on that is more than anything, Bud is really an innovator in the strength field. But before we get into that, for people that may not know who you are, Bud, would you explain a little bit of your background and how you came to, I guess, where you are today?
Wow, that's a long story. Okay. Yeah.
The abbreviated version.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I grew up athletic. Actually had car accidents that created massive physical trauma and got into martial arts and stuff as rehab, and that led me to just generally being an athlete in general, and kind of shaped my ideas and began to shape my ideas on energy, which I've really revisited in the last few years because that's such a huge deal. I know that's one of the huge things we'll be talking about in the workshop. Mm-hmm. And then I got into football and powerlifting, and I began to play and do those things or whatever, and so found I had a real talent for that and began to do that, and basically I've competed in and done everything ridiculous and heavy that a human can do. I won a world championship and set some world records in powerlifting. I competed in strongman style competition, Highland Games, Highland wrestling, grappling competition, no holds barred fighting, kettlebell sport a little bit, and I've actually made a living as a professional old school strongman. And then I've written I think 7 or 8, I forget how many now, 8 books I think, and all about different types of strength and conditioning. And then what my real specialty is and I'm flattered that you say that, is innovation or whatever, is bringing back really what's been lost in physical culture, in that you have the ability to have so much more than people think, and we become such a bunch of narrow specialists, and we've been affected by pseudoscience to say that all you can do or be is a narrow specialist. And there certainly is a place for short-term specialization, or at least narrow focuses of individual pieces of physical culture, so that you actually get the best out of what you do. But the reality is we should all be all around, great at everything we do, and your body is equipped with amazing potential for both strength and endurance, and actually to exhibit both at the same time. And so because of what I've been able to do, I get to hang out with some of the craziest strength people in the world, some great endurance people, some amazing martial artists, and so what I really do, besides, I'm actually about to leave on an anti-bullying tour, doing as a professional strongman and doing those shows, but what I really do is I spend my time figuring out what's possible for the human body, and how to get there, how to actually create a roadmap to get what you want out of your training. And I feel like you don't sacrifice things if you do it the right way. Most people will tell you, oh, you want to be the strongest you can be. Well, you can't do any cardio because you'll sacrifice your strength. And the cardio people will tell you can't waste a lot of time on strength, although that's changed a lot in the last few years, and there's certainly more acceptance there. And I believe I'm a living demonstration, because I don't believe you should listen to people who, number one, haven't achieved a high level of something, and number two, haven't achieved a high level of something on themselves in training. That's a huge pet peeve with me right now. There's a ton of guys out there who are, have marketing and the things that they do, and you see we don't roll with slick, man. We go old school. All my videos and stuff are filmed outside, hardcore. Looks like I'm training in a prison somewhere. But I'm so much more interested in delivering you content than trying to make things pretty. And if you haven't made yourself into something, you've got no business coaching somebody else. So I spend my time figuring out how to get the most out of the human body, and what's possible. What are the outer edges of what of what is possible, and because of that, how do you train to get there, and what are the important factors that you need in your training to get there?
Well, you mentioned that statement, figuring out what is possible. So for people, once again, that aren't familiar with you, describe some of the things that you've accomplished that would maybe some people think are outside the realm of possibility.
Well, okay. I would say that I've tied, or it's very negligible to say who beats who or whatever, but as far as I can stand today, I'm the only human alive, with the exception of possibly Steve Just on quarter squats, to tie two of Paul Anderson's squatting records. The best ever claim for him for a bottom position squat is 1,000 pounds. I did that, and then the 1,800 to 2,000 pound quarter squats is the biggest that anybody ever claimed for him, and I hit both of those numbers. And I'm the only human in the last 50 years to do it, and the only human with any video of actually creating a bottom position squat, starting from parallel at the bottom and standing up with 1,000 pounds. And along the way, I was able to do some other pretty crazy strength feats. For instance, I carried a 600-pound rock about 40 feet, Husfeld style rock, which is very hard. I also, and at that time, I spent 16 years training that. Now, you got to understand I was fat, but at the same time, I kept the same level of body fat basically for 16 years, and I added 150 pounds of body weight. So I built a ton of muscle. And I was actually in great shape at that time, but I decided to cut weight. And here's where the story gets real interesting, I think. Okay, so I cut 110 pounds using the kettlebell and really stretching into what's possible endurance. For instance, 4,000 kettlebell swings in one session and 2,000 nonstop. And along the way, I began to explore what's possible both in a combination of crazy strength stuff as well as combinations of crazy endurance stuff at the same time. Okay, so I've been able to do, ridiculous stuff. 1,000 sprawls, which is a burpee without a push-up. 1,000 bodyweight squats, 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 mixed bodyweight exercises, 1,000 reps with a 45-pound plate doing plate complexes, 1,000 reps with a 50-pound dumbbell, 1,000 reps with two 50-pound dumbbells, 1,000 kettlebell snatches, 1,000 kettlebell push presses, and all that with moderate weight in an endurance format. And at the same time, even with 110-pound body weight loss, on many of my lifts, I actually have beaten my all-time personal records. For instance, I just recently beat my all-time personal records for one-arm dumbbell snatches. I one-arm snatched a 160-pound dumbbell, and that was better than I had done even when I was 380, even though I'm down to 275. And that's, generally regarded as impossible. You can't lose all that body weight and still maintain massive levels of strength. Now, I am going to be flat honest. There are certain things that I wasn't able to work. For instance, I injured a knee when I was training to lose all that weight, and so I couldn't do a lot of squats at that time and couldn't do a lot of bottom position squats. But I built back up to an over 700-pound squat with a knee that was destroyed and rehabbed that, actually with quite a bit of help from one of the presenters that's going to be at the seminar, Chuck Howbacken. And then I've been able to expand into other, crazy kind of strength feats. I did what's called a wall sit with 1,010 pounds, okay, and held that for a minute and 15 seconds. And I've been able to do some other pretty crazy PRs lately. I did a one-arm row with 345 pounds. I did a one finger each hand, middle finger each hand, 2 reps chin-ups at 275 to 280 pounds, which is pretty phenomenal. A one-arm Hindu push-up at 280 pounds, which is pretty phenomenal. And been able to do some of this in formats that nobody's ever thought of. For instance, I talked about the dumbbell snatch, and this is a workout I was pretty happy with. And this is really indicative of some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about. I did a one-arm dumbbell snatch with 150 pounds each hand, and then I did 1,000 kettlebell swings, and then repeated that one-arm dumbbell snatch with 150 pounds again. So what am I displaying there, and what am I proving that's impossible? Number one, you can lose a ton of weight and still be ridiculously strong. You can get strong and incredible outside-the-box stuff, especially with an isometric training. And number two, you can be maximally world-class strong and maximally world-class enduring at exactly the same time, which is totally out of the realm of most science and most people's ever thoughts on any kind of strength, conditioning, whatever.
Mm-hmm. So when people show up to the workshop, how are you going to be showing them how to do all of this, how to become ridiculously strong, ridiculously enduring at the same time?
Well, I'm going to give you the roadmap. I'm going to give you the things that all the important factors to train and how to balance those factors. Okay, we all know that if you're going to get strong, you have to lift heavy things, and if you're going to get enduring, you have to do some type of, I believe, both. If you're going to do it and maintain muscle, you have to have some type of both muscular and aerobic cardio together, which is why I like stuff like kettlebells, sledgehammers, and heavy bags, and sled dragging, and all those things. Now, there's nothing wrong with other types of cardio if it's done in the right way. I'm just not a big thing on, jogging. I think that's kind of a waste of time. But if you put those things together in the right way, in the right proportions, and learn to both balance yourself, and then you learn to put the other factors in, for instance, how you build the base of those things is important. Finding your own personal level of, first of all, setting your own personal course and goals, because there's one of the great things about this is so much of this is uncharted territory. There's no rules about what to do, man. You make, create your own thing. And so much about strength and endurance is creating and finding your own style, what fits you well, and what does the best for you. And the balance there, the need for balance there between doing what you want to do versus doing what you need to do, or what makes sense for a full body, true level of strength. For instance, everybody should do some kind of squat, but very few people like it. Now, you may be able to do a variation that fits you the best, but if you just don't like them, period, guess what? If you're really going to get the strongest you're going to be, you still got to do some version of squats or deadlifts, presses, pulls of some sort. Some version of that variation doesn't have to be the orthodox variation. It needs to be the variation that fits for your body, but some variation of those things is something that you absolutely have to do. And there's some real cool things and I think special things that really help with this, because one of the other things you got to look at is that, I'm doing these crazy endurance feats, but within that, I really am not training that much time period comparatively. So it's real time-efficient training, and I want to talk to people about how to set that up in an extremely efficient way, and the importance of the different types of strength and all the stuff that people have never thought of. For instance, I think you were there, Logan, when I talked about this, when we filmed some of this video before. There's kind of what I'd call a rainbow or a continuum of strength. Mm-hmm. And I've talked about this in some of my earlier work about different levels of strength. And really, as I progress in that, I find that there's an entirely different set of levels of how you do that, and how you might kind of build this matrix of what's cardio, what's strength, what level of each do I want, how do I maintain intensity and speed throughout that, how do I just get that as well. And then there's the other factors, for instance, the mental factors, in putting this together in both training for both. I think some important things mentally is having a stated and built mental process, and you may have different mental processes for different types of lifts or different strengths or whatever. And something that very few people talk about is the fun element. And what's funny is I talked to, I don't know how many guys recently, but, amazing, super strong guys. For instance, Donnie Thompson, all-time world record-holding powerlifter. And he said, he told me personally, I'm as strong today as I probably was even at my biggest, even though I'm 50 pounds lighter. But it's because I have more fun in training today. I've relaxed about things. That's such a huge mental process there. And then one of the other things that nobody's explored very much is the combination of the energetic process. And that's where I really think this workshop is going to shine. I don't know if anybody else has talked about this in these interviews, but that's where I really think this is going to shine, because what you have here is 4 people who've achieved absolutely incredible, amazing things from 4 different sides of attacking this whole thing. But when you get top-level experts together who are really willing to share, and none of us are the kind of guy who holds things back or feels real secretive about things, and I believe that's idiocy. You really should be sharing and helping to develop the people that come to see these things and develop the physical culture world. You've got your mental training and deep exploration of both energy as well as the mental processes and how to physically change your mental processes to get the most out of yourself. And you got Garen, who is like almost impossible to describe, and Garen's work with harmonics and building a truly unified mental, physical, even sound-based process to get amazing results in not just life, but in physical training and from lots of sides of the way. And then you got Chuck, who, obviously the physical voodoo things that Chuck kind of does, which is crazy. All these factors work together, and nobody that I've seen has created or has put people together in one seminar that has a cohesive direction for building this. Because I term the deal super muscle, but really that's what you do, that's what Garen does, that's what Chuck does. It's just different sides of the coin of the same thing. We all have an individual expression. For instance, Chuck ripping 2 decks of cards lengthwise is an absolute crazy strength feat, as well as doing, 1,000 decks of cards in 35 days. That's an amazing endurance feat. And you doing, the crazy bodyweight stuff, the very, very hard level bodyweight stuff, as well as 300 snatches and, 302, I think it was, 301 or 2 snatches in 10 minutes with a 53-pound kettlebell. Same combination. And then there's Garen doing the real crazy finger extended push-ups and all the other stuff he does, as well as the endurance. I mean, when you add all of those things together, and especially I'm really excited about the roundtable stuff, the sharing the individual processes, because for the people who come, you never know what piece of my mental process or yours, or my energetic process or yours or Garen's or Chuck's, or what they pick up from any one of us about flexibility or mobility or a particular strength technique or a particular endurance technique, or, it could be breathing or relaxation, or, so many of these factors go together. Any one of those individual pieces might be the sparking piece that they're missing. Mm-hmm. And so you've got literally 4 pioneer-level guys in one place sharing all their stuff, no holds barred together. That's going to be ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and I think truly the fact that we're all together and all be teaching is we're going to, ourselves going to be breaking through to new levels, getting pieces from the other guys. I can't wait, not only to present, but to see what you're sharing, see what Garen's sharing, see what Chuck's going to be teaching there, because with that level of knowledge, it will raise all of us up, the attendees and the presenters included.
Well, absolutely. That's one of the big reasons that, we do seminars because that's our business and because that's what we do, and then that's how you share, and that's how you, but I'm super excited about this one, and I love to do it with the guys who present with us, because every time we do this, we learn new stuff too, man. There's such a wide variety of things to be able to accomplish and do and train and have fun with and learn in the physical culture world, and you never know which piece of this might be the thing that truly builds your health or your longevity or keeps you pain-free or, excites you from a motivational standpoint or builds your mental or energetic process. And here's the one thing I think is going to be cool about this is so much of the energy talk that anybody talks about is so esoteric and so soft style that the average person in the weightlifting world or this real strength athletes have been, driven away from it. And here you got 4 guys who all are willing and talk regularly about the subtle energy stuff of the body, yet have a hard style set of chops to actually show for it. You know what I'm saying? And see, there's where I think that's one of the super keys, I think, to both super muscle as well as amazing human performances, setting all those processes together and then following them through with both the hard physical stuff, because that way you prove it actually works. That way it's not just a theory of, I feel energetic today. It's, by the way, I used this particular technique or this energy to accomplish this hard physical goal, which is, out of the box. And most people don't realize that we're doing stuff that you're not supposed to be able to do. You know what I'm saying? You're too tall to snatch a kettlebell that many times in 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And to do the crazy stuff we do, and Chuck's, I'm gonna bust Chuck's butt on this a little bit, but Chuck's too old. He's not actually. That's another one of the amazing things, man. All right, today's my birthday. I turned 39 today, and I'm gonna set a personal record today in training. And Chuck's 52, and I'm sorry, I don't remember. He's 50 or 51, 52. Is he 50? Okay, yeah, I didn't mean to age him prematurely, but he's as strong as he's ever been in card tearing, and especially when you consider his physical history and the rehab and crazy, incredible things he's had to do. And then Garen is just, craziness embodied, all kind of stuff. we shouldn't be able to do it. And I don't know if I hadn't actually mentioned this to you, but I'm bringing Noah, and obviously Noah Jeffries, my son, to the workshop, and I'm going to put him in on the round tables and the whole thing, and probably let him teach a piece or whatever. That'll be just really be an extra bonus for everybody else, because, and I say this not as dad bragging or trying to pump him up or whatever, he actually has such a prodigy level of understanding of energy in regards to certain strength feats and focus feats that he teaches me stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not an amateur. I sort of know what's going on in the physical culture world and what's possible. And you're talking about a guy who at 15 years old could bend the red nail in 20 seconds.
Yeah, Noah's not just strong for his age; he is strong. Period. He is stronger than, while being young.
Well, you and I are good. Chuck is great at cards, and we'll beat him at cards. But Noah will be the strongest steel bender at the workshop, unless Pat or somebody comes and Pat Pocahontas or somebody happens to show up. But literally, he's top few in the world in some of the things he's been able to do, and the wide variety of his ability to focus and do different things. For instance, winning a state shooting championship, winning 60 matches in the last 2 years, winning the state jiu-jitsu championship, bending a 10-inch, 3/8-inch carriage bolt upside down, unbraced, in a headstand, shooting a dime, quarter BB, aspirin, and shooting a BB out of the air with another BB, being able to split a playing card, as well as actually just leave a mark on a playing card when he shot it without messing the paper up. You're talking about stuff that's just amazing. And don't get me wrong, people want to discount the fact that he's young and it's just genetic talent. And does he have a genetic base? Absolutely. He had some amazing factors, too, in being able to hang out with people when he was young that inspired that. But because of that, you got to figure that since he was 6 and 7 years old, he's been getting a world-class education from people like Dennis Rogers and Peter Ragnar and, just a dozen of the other, Mike Bruce and Scott Weech and a dozen of the other strongest living humans. He's been getting that education hands-on, and then he took it to a whole nother level that some of us are not even, he outstripped me, and I'm about to turn 39. That's insane,
Mm-hmm.
Plus, because of his background and genetic gifts and the level of focus and stuff that he's been able to practice and train for and train, he has an ability to express some of the energetic concepts and some of the focus concepts that I've never heard anyone express, and I've studied that. And so I think that's going to be interesting. You're talking about, Noah has a couple of world records, and he's already very close to the best in 2 fields. So that puts him right in the mix there, even at 16 years old. And so I think you guys will be blown away by some of the stuff he has to say, and especially when you put all 5 of us in the round tables together, I think that's going to be.
Well, we've mentioned the round tables. I don't know that we've ever fully explained what we're planning to do with those. So would you like to go into some detail on that concept and idea?
Yeah. Here's the plan, or listen, this is the plan as I see it, and we will modify this liberally to make it the most effective we can possibly do. So each of us is going to teach different pieces throughout the seminar, and we'll run through, each of those things. And I'm sure I know people do roundtable stuff at the end of the day, that kind of thing, and that's what we're going to do. So at the end of each day, or possibly even at the end of a break period, if we need to do whatever to really stay on top of the information, we're going to put all 5 of us together in one place, and we're going to have a free-form discussion of all the information the other guys shared. So what you're going to get is other expert-level people asking questions live from another expert that just shared, and sharing their thoughts and how to modify and build on top of both their own information and the information that the other expert just shared. So all the stuff that Garen talks about, you're going to hear not only just questions from you guys and be able to answer them, but you're going to hear me and Logan and Noah and Chuck ask him questions, and vice versa for all of us, not only for our personal training, but for just the pure advancement of what's possible or the knowledge. So what you've got is the equivalent of 5 sort of physical culture scientists building off of each other's work in one concentrated piece, and we'll do that probably 3 or 4 times throughout the workshop.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be insane, man, to be able, because, you know, it's one thing to, and I'm not discounting, because we'll have some high-level people who will be at the workshop, you know, guys who are very smart and very well trained and have a bunch of letters, probably more letters than I got behind my name. So they're going to ask brilliant questions, and we always get a high caliber of people who show up and do amazing stuff as well. And I don't think we've had any workshop so far where literally everybody at the thing has set some kind of personal record, some kind of new personal record in their own personal training. But so you're going to get all these people and their ability to ask questions and review the material right there. But not only are you going to get that, you're going to get other perspectives. So if Garen shares about energy and harmonics and whatever the other things he talks about, you're going to get, you know, multiple of the rest of our perspectives at one time, and the interplay between us and each other and the audience. And then that's what I'm really excited about, or one of the things I'm really excited about, because the ability to that is like, you know, all the greatest medical and science researchers getting together and freely sharing their information, and nobody worrying about whether they have a patent on something, and just saying, okay, this is a breakthrough I just made. How can your personal breakthrough make my breakthrough double the progress for everybody in the room?
Make it even better.
Yeah. So, and it tends to be one of those. I mean, I don't even know where we'll go with that. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know where. I'm excited to see that, because that may open some doors that none of us have ever even thought of.
Yeah, break some new ground.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I'm excited about, because, man, you just don't get that very often. Do you get people who are literally the best, or within, you know, either the absolute best, or, you know, within obviously 1% of literally the top people all time in the world, together in one place, freely sharing information and actually actively trying to not one-up each other, but to build on each other's ideas, because we're all interested in just improving and getting better for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be insane, man.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the PRs, and this happens, of course, at all of our workshops, but I think at this one more than any others, the energy in the room, because of what we're really teaching and focusing on, is just going to, like, literally break people through to the next level without them even, you know, doing the techniques or anything. Like that one time after the first superhuman training workshop, when we were all training at Chuck's gym in Modesto, and just the room felt charged, and PR after PR was falling. We were just trying new things, and the room literally felt weird. And that's what we're going for. Weird in a good way, of course, in a PR setting way. This workshop, more than any other, should bring that. So just by showing up, you are almost guaranteed to set some big new PRs. And we literally are guaranteeing that.
Yeah. We've never had anybody not. We've never had it, because, I mean, literally, because you're going to get hands-on, face-to-face, you know, coaching with people who know exactly how to do the things they're teaching, which is such a huge thing, man. 99% of the people out there teaching stuff, they don't even know how to do the stuff they're teaching, really. They don't truly understand it. And then you got people who have explored the depth of what's possible and what's possible energetically, that's so exciting to me, because, man, like, when you compete at high levels, occasionally you get those energetic bursts where things are weird and it's kind of that zone thing, and you know, but when you put people who are purposely and can consciously at will create that together on a regular basis, and you magnify their energy together, I mean, that's a weird thing, man. That's that's when things get out of control and get like, you know, the lights start going off in the room, and you start popping circuit breakers just from people standing around. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, really, it's literally weird on an electric, physical level that you can, and I'm not just talking about us who pursue it in a way that's sensitive to it. I mean, it's one of those things where anybody who walks in the room is like, whoa, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And I think, man, when you get guys together like that, and there is something, first of all, there's something special about just human contact, but when you get amazing people who already project that energy together, and theirs starts to mingle and meld and build that, man, you get to an amazing place. I mean, that gets to be
All right. Well, we could keep talking for a long time, but we both got things to do today, and happy birthday as well.
Oh, thank you.
So for people listening to this call, go to wizardsofstrength.com. Make sure to sign up. This more than any other event is one where I truly think you need to be there live. You need to experience this event itself. So be sure to do that. Once again, it's October 19th through the 21st in San Diego, California. This will be a one-of-a-kind, unique event. You've heard what it's all about, so be there, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much, bud.
Yes, sir. Thank you.